Hi everybody, I am back with step 4 in how I make my mini junk journal. This is where I actually start using all of the supplies you saw me get ready in the first 3 videos. So what comes next is all of the inking and stamping that I'm going to do. In this particular album, because it has somewhat of a vintage theme, I did do some distress inking on the sides of things. So I did all of that first. I went through the pages and inked all the edges that I thought I wanted to ink. And then I went back through and did the stamping. And I ended up adding a couple inks that I hadn't shown you before, one of which I think is, I don't think I showed you these. I apologize if this is information I already gave you, but I added Weather Vane from Jenny Bolin and I added Chewing Gum from Jenny Bolin, and then I also added this Hero Arts shadow ink, and you're not going to see it. It doesn't like stand out really well on the pages that I used it on. It was just kind of a nice background effect. So I also added some envelopes, some pockets. You'll see that as I got going. I wanted a few more places for her to be able to tuck things in. So right in front is one of those that I made. This is actually a little mini craft envelope that I sealed and then cut the edge off. And I covered the part that has the flap with paper and hole punched it, obviously, so they would know where the pocket is. And then I distress ink this, and there's a very light stamp of one of those paper tray ink flowers. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, guys. I'm not going to necessarily identify every single stamp. If there's something here that you see that you really like and you want to know which stamp set it came from, just let me know in the comments below and I will leave that information for you. But I want to make this somewhat of a quick video, so I'm going to just kind of zoom through it. So you can see I distressed the tag, added a stamp. I don't do it to every single one. Some I leave blank. I want there to be enough interest in the pages to, keep people looking. This is some Lindy's Stamp Gang Starburst stain that I just tapped all over, kind of in a teal color. Paper bag that I added. I've done those in both of my other minis. So there's pockets. These I added some pages from that old dictionary that my friend over at Mini Album Scraps got me, Christy. This one I actually did a light stamping on. It's hard to tell from the camera probably, but it's a little bit of a doily pattern. And I distress inked the back a little bit. I did leave a lot of space blank, so there would be places for her to write in. If she actually wants to use it, I wanted there to be room. I did a lot of distress inking on the sides of the tags. Hopefully you can see that in the video. Very light flower. I kept most of the stamps. The image is pretty light. I want them to add interest to the page, but I don't want them to necessarily be the only thing you notice about the book, because the papers are gorgeous. There should be a lot of things of interest in there. So a couple of these do have, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I did use the Mr. Huey's shine spray that I got. On some of this, which by the way, for those of you who haven't used the Mr. Huey's, I really like it, but it's a really small bottle, so I don't know how long it will last, but it is really pretty on the paper, so keep that in mind when you're buying it. Maybe buy it when you find it on sale somewhere if you ever do. This is another one of those little envelopes. Same thing, just change the direction. More of the Lindy Stamp Gang. Distressing some of the edges. This is a coin envelope that I shortened and added paper to on both sides, and I distressed the edges of the paper a little bit. I was going to put some paper in here, and right now I think I'm not going to. We'll see if that lasts, but I kind of like the little bit of the color pop that leaves there, so we'll see. More tags. I think these papers are just really gorgeous. So anyway, as you've probably figured out, by the time I'm all done with this mini album, oops, sorry, I hit the camera, guys. By the time I'm all done, I've gone through this thing several times because of the way I'm doing stuff. Here's another, oops, here's another pocket right there. And that's just what works for me. I like to go over and over again when I add everything, because that way I'm making sure it all flows for me. I don't think there's any right or wrong way. Here's another little pocket I made, just out of a piece of pattern paper I folded up. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to make these things. You just need to find a way that works for you. And this is the, oops, sorry guys, the method that I have found that works for me. So I'm hoping you guys get some benefit from this, because I know that I've received a lot of questions on, you know, how I make them. And they are really, so far, aside from like cards, which are pretty, you know, instant gratification, besides cards, pocket, mini albums are, mini junk journals, I guess I should say, are a lot of fun for me, and I find them really relaxing to make, because it doesn't seem to be any rules to it. It's a lot of fun because I get to use a lot of materials. I get to pull out a lot of inks and stamps and play with them, which I really enjoy. And it just kind of seems to flow once you've done one and you figure out what you're doing. It's a lot of fun. So as you can see, I just kind of inked and put stamps wherever they felt right. I did try and evenly disperse some of the things, like the Vintage Ladies, those stamps. Here's another pocket. I did try and you know, distribute them throughout the album so that they weren't all right next to each other. Same with the doily stamps I did, and the little banner ones that I did, and the flowers. I did kind of try and make sure to not put them right next to each other. And again, also same with these labels that I put in there. So there is step 4. It's all inked and stamped and ready to go. We still have embellishments to add to this. That's what's going to come next. We still have a cover to do, back and front, and binding to do. So I hope you've found these helpful so far. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'm sorry this one ran a little bit longer than the others. It just takes time to show you all the pages. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.